when you're in this, you're wanting a lot out of life. You want to be famous and rich and have all these people screaming at you, and you want all this stuff. Well, you can't be feeble-minded. That's a big thing you want from the world. Well, you got to earn it for a start, and you want a long career. You got to keep on earning it.
Of course, the ephemeral nature of pop success is such that if you don't write the follow-up hits, then you very quickly start getting bad reviews, the audiences start staying away in droves, and then the validation that you've pinned on that success evaporates. I had a stock of soluble distalgesics in my cupboard with which a friend of mine had successfully killed himself a few years earlier, just as my kind of escape strategy.
And you couple that with all the kind of craziness of the business, of the readily available drink, drugs, women, anything else they might want.
It's like, well, I'm having sex with lots of people and there are all these drugs, and isn't this kind of amazing? And I'm going to go on this journey now, and I'm going to take drugs for 18 months and have a fantastic time.
Is there a direct link between music and addiction? Actually what music offers all of us is a release from anxiety, from just being kind of trapped in your own head with your own thoughts, your own sort of cognitive distress. It's a release from that.
I think artists find it very hard to be, on one hand, on this intense high, often very late at night, and then having to go and sleep, and then how do they manage it without taking too much drink to dampen them down, or stimulants to keep them going? And it's dangerous, of course, when you start using too many drugs to try and control your daily living. It's okay to dabble a bit every now and then, but if it becomes a habit, it starts to control your life. And the trouble is, you need to take more and more to get the same effect, and ultimately it gets destructive.
What are the things that define this phenomenon? And in fact, they're all things that these people have in common. So they've all had a dysfunctional childhood. They've all had some terrible thing happen to them very early on in their life that they haven't been helped to process. So they're all full of angst, and creativity is the outlet for that. They're generally highly intelligent people who've been misunderstood at a young age. They all have a rebellious nature. They've been outcast, they've been misplaced, they've been misguided. And ultimately, because they make a lot of money doing the thing that they try and use to heal themselves from that, they indulge in drink and drugs, and those are the things that kill them.
I think, you'll often see in history great artists, I'm not saying myself, but have, probably have had some traumas. My father died at 13, and when he passed away, I think, for me, a void needed to be filled. I was a teenage kid growing up without a dad, and it's like I needed to create something.
I think I was 14 or 15, can't remember for sure, 14. It was there that it was suggested that I had Asperger's. So they put me on drugs. They put me on Nardil and Valium for a year or two to keep me calm. I used to get very agitated about things. Because of Asperger's, I have a ridiculous level of concentration and obsession. We get obsessive about things. And if you choose music as a career, then that's the thing you become obsessed about.
Brian, how long have you been with the Rolling Stones? Are you one of the original members?
Yes, one of the original members.
What were you doing before you joined?
Well, just sort of bumming around waiting for something to happen, really.
Brian Jones had a difficult start. He was 3 when his 18-month-old sister died. Cognitive function, of course, is developing through our whole childhoods. So even if we haven't got a sophisticated way of conceptualizing loss, we have it imprinted onto our being by the experience.
Every artist is fucked up in some way in their childhood. Often, what fucked them up in their childhood leads to their greatest piece of work.
These apparent hitchhikers, so blandly ignored, are 5 of the most famous young men in show business, the Rolling Stones. Some of these motorists will be kicking themselves when they learn they missed the chance of a lifetime of getting to know them. Brian Jones was acting out a lot
way before he met Mick and the rest of the Stones. He was taking drink and drugs. He'd had 3 children with 3 different women by the age of 19.
But the first child was when he's about 14 or 15. But it's almost like he's trying to create another family.
He dropped out, he went travelling, he became a busker. It wasn't until he came to London and met Alexis Corner that he began to become interested in the blues and started to immerse himself in that crowd of people.
Brian Jones was really a bad boy right from the start, so it's often said that Andrew Oldham invented the kind of bad boy mystique of the Stones. It wasn't, it was Brian Jones. He was the one, where Mick and Keith walked into Ealing Blues Club and saw him. It's like, this is the real deal. We want to be like this. He had the whole thing. He had it down because it was innate.